afternoon. First, I would like to thank you for being with us today. My name is Oscar Layton and I represent Libros y Libros in this webinar. For 35 years, Libros y Libros has been an active part of the evolution in education in Colombia. We have contributed to the development of pedagogical processes that have been forefront of the education sector. Many Colombians have used our projects in their learning processes, and over the years we have been transforming ourselves, preparing to face the challenges for education for new generations. This is why at present time any educational proposal that pretends to be competitive must have an updated and powerful offer for teaching English. Searching for the best project in Libros y Libros, we searched in several countries and spoke with many publishers looking for projects that were truly adjusted to the current needs of our students. And finally, of that tour, last year we found Alpha Publishing. Alpha is a publisher that was born out of the interest from several highly experienced publisher experts with long backgrounds that had an interest in making innovative proposals that effectively include contemporary pedagogical approaches such as 21st century skills or social emotional learning. It is a publishing house with its headquarters in Dubai and the editorial team based in London and the United States. We contacted them and introduced Colombia and who we were at Libros y Libros. We also expressed our interest in having texts that allow us to be at the forefront of teaching English in the global and local contexts. In this way, we reached an agreement, and thanks to that, today we are proudly launching what we think is the most updated proposal in the world. Today we are launching it for the Colombian education sector, or the programs that we are going to have from this agreement with Alpha Publishing are fully updated English programs. The methodologies include 21st century skills. They are also programs adjusted to the last Common European Framework that was updated at the end of 2018. It has interdisciplinary STEAM projects and include social emotional skills development. So it has a series of strengths, and our goal is to be able to present them later in detail in your schools. But I just wanted to tell you some of the most important highlights of this project. We are facing huge challenges due to the current situation, and being able to have this moment where we can share our experiences and time for learning from the others is a great opportunity to get ahead in the best way. I leave you with Gloria Borges, Latin American Manager at Alpha Publishing, who will provide us the support for our academic presentation today. New visions for our 2020-21st school year with 21st century skills and social emotional learning. Thank you very much. Gloria?
Thank you, Oscar. Alpha is a new publisher in the region, and we're very glad to partner with Libros y Libros. I want to highlight that you will count on our professional development team to support you all the way. Today, we are pleased to introduce one of our international consultants, Sharon Reed. Sharon is an educator with more than 30 years of experience in education. She holds a bachelor's degree in education and English from Colorado State University, and she has also a master's degree in reading from University of Colorado. So let's welcome Sharon, and the floor is yours, Sharon.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone in Colombia. It is such a pleasure to be with you, and thank you for sharing your afternoon time with me. I am going to open my slides and come off of the webinar, off of the screen, and let's get underway. First, to everyone there, thank you for joining me today on this webinar provided by Alpha Publishing and Libros y Libros. I appreciate you taking time from your busy back-to-school schedules to share your time with me. Those of you who are on the webinar today. I have had the wonderful opportunity to visit your beautiful country over the past several years, and I have so many wonderful memories of meeting the teachers in different cities, including Bogota, Santa Marta, Barranquilla, Medellin, and more. But I think, like many of you, for these past several months, they've been very challenging for you and for me. I have been quarantined in my home and in my town of Eugene, Oregon, for the past few months as we all work together to overcome this challenge to health. I have to say that I laughed when I saw this Mona Lisa montage and how she changed over the weeks. But I'm still smiling. And I'm smiling also because maybe like some of you, I am hearing from neighbors and other people here that teachers are finally getting the credit that they deserve. I've heard so many people say, wow, teaching is hard. Well, yes, yes it is. It takes skill and energy and patience and passion. As we have our brief time this afternoon, there are some goals that I wanted to share with you. Those are taking a closer look at SEL, or social emotional learning, and sharing some ideas with you for your consideration in your classroom. And then to take a closer look at our Alpha Publishing's newest English Vision program that supports both SEL and important 21st century skills. I don't know about you, but I had some of these faces when I was in my classroom in Colorado teaching English language arts for grades 3 through 8. And I'll tell you, these are not the faces that we want to see in our classrooms or even on our Zoom meetings. But I also worry beyond the faces. I sometimes worry about the feelings, about the children who, when faced with learning a new language or faced with the challenges of the classroom, have had the thought about wanting to disappear, the ones who really try to hide. And this poem captures some of that. If I stay very still and breathe very quietly, the magic happens. I disappear, and no one sees me, and no one hears me, and no one even thinks about me, and the teacher won't call on me. It's very safe being invisible. I'm perfect. I can't make mistakes. At least nobody sees them, so nobody laughs. Well, to my wonderful Colombia teachers out there, we don't want the children to disappear into the classroom. We know that we want those tired faces, those frightened faces to turn into smiles. We know that part of our work as teachers is to fire up the brains of our students, to really light up the brain waves, to help them make connections, to help them see success every day in the classroom. And that's certainly more challenging in this time where students have been away from school for several months. Parents are concerned, students are concerned, but I think students are so eager to see some familiar faces or to get back into a school situation. We want them to feel welcome to the new learning year. I was in a school in the Middle East and saw this door, and I took a photo of it. I loved what the teacher was saying to the students as they entered her class for the very first time. I loved the way that she had confidence in them. Look at what she's saying on this door, that already they were scientists, readers, writers, even the tiny ones who would be learning how to read and write. I loved the way that she considered them as a learning family, as part of a learning family, and ready to work together for a great year. I loved the way that the teacher was expecting students to be ready and to grow in their 21st century skills. What are the 21st century skills that are so necessary for our students to work with as they move through the grade levels? Now, many of you on this webinar, I'm sure, already know the 4 C's that are so important at every grade. Can you find them on the slide? I can't see you right now, but if you would point to the 4 C's on your laptop, on your iPad, can you find those 4 C's of 21st century skills? If you found these four, then great job. They've been identified as a great focus for learning every day in many ways. Did you find the critical thinking, creative thinking, collaboration, and communication? Those 4 C's. But today I want to add 2 more C's that weave into our 21st century skills, and those are caring and confidence. Caring and confidence, weaving SEL, or social emotional learning, into the classroom this year, and that will truly make a difference for students as they return for 2020. Well, some of you may be new to SEL, or social emotional learning. So what is it? Well, they will learn from you great content and skills, but students who experience social emotional learning activities in the classroom can become more independent in their learning, and they become more confident in their learning. As a teacher, I know that you provide that door to success that opens even wider, because you are teaching them not only things to learn, but you're really teaching them how to learn in the classroom and how to learn in the world around them. You are teaching them how to grow, how to mature as learners, along with the reading, writing, math, social studies, and more. Now, from the Collaborative for Academic and Social Emotional Learning group, they have some wonderful research that tells us why SEL, or social emotional learning, is important. Nearly 83% of students make academic gains in the classroom when they are involved in SEL activities, and while they are learning the content you are teaching. They find that students have an almost 11% gain on the standardized testing, and students tend to have higher grade point averages or higher grades when they are connected with social emotional learning in the schools, and it's been shown to improve just classroom behavior. When you as a teacher bring in some common sense activities, and I'm sure ones that I show you today are ones where you'll say, Sharon, I do that every year. Sharon, I do this all the time with my students. That's fabulous. By bringing in some common sense activities, using best practices, and helping students to gain confidence and a positive attitude with learning, you can see the differences that you will be making each and every day as the students move through grade levels to graduation for both short-term and long-term. Now, here on this slide is what I would call the big idea of social emotional learning. I have this in both your English and Spanish for you on this slide. So this slide really captures the 5 major areas of SEL. Look at the outside circle and how this has an impact from homes and communities into the school, into the classroom, and how you can blend into your classroom, either online or if you are physically going to be in the classroom sometime in this year, you will make a true difference in learning. We're going to be moving into taking a closer look at each of these 5 levels. But before we take a look at the levels, I did want to invite you to contact Gloria at Alpha Publishing or Oscar at Libros y Libros to take a closer look at the Alpha Publishing English Vision program, because you will see how social emotional learning is at work right through the program. It's built in at each level of living values, developing life skills, and living with technology. Let's jump into that first section of the circle. The first section is self-awareness. Self-awareness. What does that mean? Well, here, teachers, you do this so well, especially with those younger children. You help the children know more about themselves. You help them know how they fit into their family and into their community. You help them see what makes them unique and special. Sometimes it's like, let's help them understand why they're just a cool kid. What is it that makes them interesting? Why are we so happy to have them in our classroom? You help them learn that through the year as they grow in their learning. Now, what can you do in the classroom? You already do many interesting activities, I'm sure, to welcome the children and learn more about them. You're helping children learn words for feelings and emotions. I'm sure you have children act out feelings, showing what do their faces and their bodies look like when they're happy, they're sad, they're excited, they're frightened, but giving them new words. As a teacher, you model what you are teaching as well. You're making it a learning family. Be willing to share appropriately, maybe emotions that you are feeling. I remember I have a kindergarten teacher friend who lost her voice. She got laryngitis, and she told the children, she said, today I'm so sad. I'm very sad because I've lost my voice, and I need all your help to listen carefully, because she was whispering through the day. And because she modeled that, today I'm sad, I'm a little worried that you will not be able to learn as much because I don't have my voice. And the children were so wonderful and helpful. She shared how she felt the students grew comfortable sharing how they would feel. Now, some ideas that I'm sure that you do. In self-awareness, you may already have or may want to use a poster that shows emotions in different ways. One that I found, and I just found these on the internet, is a Muppet poster. It lets children point at words and feelings. Just very cute, but it gives them faces to use to express their feelings. The All About Me little personal puzzle that you see on my slide. I'm sure many of you do interest inventories, and I think that's especially important as we move into this year. But a little personal interest puzzle so that you learn more about their favorite things, what they like to do. And I love below this a bulletin board that lets children tell you things that they can do. They are self-aware. What can I do? And it may be their handprint, it may be your writing, but you're really sending a message that they have a special talent and they are appreciated. Also, teachers, the students have been away from us for a long while, but is there something new that they learned over the past months? Let's not assume that they did nothing. Let's assume that maybe they learned to do something new. Maybe they did something special with a family member. Some may have found a new talent or had a new experience. And then on this slide, it's showing a growth mindset, just letting students know that yes, there are challenges. Yes, that things, may have a bit of a door, but when they know that that's how they feel, they can really make great efforts to really grow. If I'm working with older students, I also worked with 4th grade, 5th grade, middle school, I often ask them to tell me what is in their mind as they are thinking and linking and learning. And it shows me how they are aware of how they see themselves as learners. So I ask them to tell me what's going on in their mind. I want the students to identify for me what they are thinking. The next section is so important, especially for young children, working on the area of self-management. So the second section is self-management, which in turn helps you with classroom management. It's helping the child take more responsibility for their learning and helping you as a teacher in the classroom. This section of SEL, or social emotional learning, supports students to learn how to manage stress or anger or to work towards learning goals. We know that effective teachers provide good routines for students. Something happens the same day in every way. There is consistency. There are good routines. Students feel more capable, more confident when there are routines in place. Students know what is expected. And that's important whether the students are in the classroom or online. Effective teachers provide classroom space that is organized and calming. I love to go into classrooms and see how teachers have the classroom set, but are there colors that are calming, pink or blues or off-white? I would go into a classroom and wear a bright apron or such to help students focus on me for a learning activity. But again, is it calm? Is it organized? Are there other visuals to help them through the day? How else can you help? Certainly, and I'm sure this is something you do on a daily basis, greeting students when they arrive, and when it's possible, to share examples of how you manage a busy day, or how you manage a difficult day, how you get things done when you are meeting deadlines. Here are some ideas that you may already be using to support the area of self-management. On this slide, in number 1, you can see a morning meeting routine. Many of you have this in your classroom, I'm sure. so that every morning that the class reviews the classroom rules, that there is a greeting, an activity, news of the day, maybe a short poem, behavior goals, and the class motto. I love the motto, good, better, best, never let it rest until your good is better and your better is your best. But morning meeting, morning circle, circle time, whatever you use. In number 2, here is a poster of a teacher who used a bucket filler and a bucket dipper. What can students do to fill the bucket with good things? What are routines, some rules that the students can see every day? But what empties a bucket? In number 3, perhaps some of you are using some emotion cards. If students are feeling angry, what could they do to help? Number 3 is showing some examples there. Number 4, some teachers have used what I've heard sometimes called like classroom yoga, classroom yoga. And they might use something like a star routine. If children are upset, they will ask the child to smile, S, smile, T, take a deep breath, A, and R, relax. So smile, take a deep breath and relax, become calm, and then let's approach the problem or the concern. In number 5 is a nice graph again that I think a teacher has provided to students to let them self-manage, and to track the sight words that they're learning. And it's helping to keep the students self-managing their own learning. I just want to remind you that in English Vision, that these kinds of activities are built right into the program. Something like when it's important to manage their work and unplug from technology, how to consider using time wisely with a timeline or a weekly planner, giving students the language skills in this program to talk about their schedule and to talk about time management with real-world language experiences. So we want the students to work on that self-management, being able to track their learning, know when they need to move on, to move towards learning goals, and more. The third area for SEL, social emotional learning, is social awareness. Social awareness. Now, the first 2 areas were self-awareness and self-management. But here, you are helping students move from me, the me, to we. And so with social emotional learning in this aspect, you are helping them to be more open to accepting and learning about others, and especially those that might be different in their looks and abilities, culture, and more. Through the classroom or online lessons, you are helping the students celebrate how people are the same or different. Research, by the way, tells us that primary students are pretty quickly able to tell us about differences, but sometimes need more help to clearly see similarities. And in this area, you help them learn to respect others and to care for others. Some of them you may use, and some classrooms I have visited working with social emotional learning, use a kindness tree activity with young children. As they close the day, they might ask if their classmates have shown a kindness or helped a classmate, and they tell what happened, and then the teacher helps them write or make a leaf that they add to the tree. I've also been in classrooms where teachers keep a very small photo on a magnet, and when students are having their morning message time, their gathering time, students who are absent, their photo is put in the middle of the heart, just so that they know that their classmates are thinking about them. But really working on showing kindness, showing respect, showing care. In English Vision, thinking activities for SEL, as I said, are built in to learn about other cultures and hear about times that people eat dinner around the world. In China, a lot of families have dinner around 6:30. My family has dinner much later. In Spain, many people have dinner after 9 o'clock. So how are cultures different? How do we celebrate that? And how can you show a positive attitude in class and at home? And again, the learning is always tied to language learning and language production. In the next section, relationship skills, here students practice those 4 C's in much more depth. They practice communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creative thinking with their classmates. They learn to be an effective team member, and you help them to become involved in real-world tasks that bring those 4 C's, as well as caring and confidence, into the classroom. You do this by providing many opportunities to work in flexible groups. You are modeling how students can work through projects. And when you model collaboration, communication, and thinking in the classroom, when you are doing these, you are working so well with that relationship portion of SEL. Again, students learn how to help each other. Now, I found this placemat on Pinterest, and I pulled it because I thought it was a nice way to make something very visible for students. They learn to be polite and respect their classmates. This slide just shows, an example of a placemat and another activity in English Vision for students to learn about being kind and showing respect. Some other activities, of course, lots of practice, as you see the 2 boys doing here, as they talk, as they partner, share, and pair. One teacher provided this poster to support the work of writing partners. And I love the talk, listen, compliment, and ask. I love the routine and the friendly way that she shows and models what should happen when writing partners are working together. Sometimes the best activities are so fun. The group work, if you can see the photo of the group work to move the cups from the tower, the tower cups, to the desk. It's much harder than you think. Each student has a string, and they are working to move the cups down from each level back onto the desk top. Lots of communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creative thinking. And many of you use chore charts, as you can see on the right. I see this in many classrooms. Wonderful. The purpose builds teamwork across the class and allows students to really work with their classmates and not always their friend favorites. One of my favorite activities, and I hope you do this in your classroom, is to support the 4 C's with the relationship skills in a classroom book. Each child provides a page. An example is an alphabet book. Here, F is for fish. Another one for high frequency word pages. Again, the students each take a page and contribute, or another is a repeated page. All by myself, I can walk my cat, but I need a friend to walk with me. All by myself, I can ride a bike, but I need a friend to catch a frog. All by myself, I can read a book, but I need a friend to read it to. Wonderful activities to work in this social emotional area. Sometimes just having students choose one word is giving them opportunities to build those relationships. Each student, it works with critical thinking, creative thinking. It allows students to choose words, great for vocabulary. And then consider having a student wear one of your key words from a content area or from your language program, and have your word wizard share that word and definition throughout the day. With older students, I've done this activity where working with that area of relationships, a great high-level experience. After reading a story or a lesson, students get into 2 circles. They face each other. As the teacher, I stand inside or outside. I ask a question, and then students who are A's give the answer. I ask another question. Students who are B's then answer. And then I have them move to the left or the right to change partners. And I ask additional questions so that students are working with many classmates across the classroom. Through some of these activities, they are able to lead and to follow. Our final area for SEL is the area of responsible decision making. In many ways, I know you help students to become good decision makers. Step by step, with lots of support, you help students to decide a course of action. Sometimes that is as small as giving them 1 or 2 or 3 choices. But remember, no more than 3 choices should be given to students. Again, research tells us 3 is the top number. So give them 2 or 3 choices and have them decide what is best for them. Sometimes that's dealing with a behavior problem. Do they need a timeout, or can they discuss what happens? I like how this teacher used a very easy 4-step process with small drawings to help children on the path to making decisions. Here's another example of a poster with 5 steps that students could follow as they meet the need to make a decision. I've also been in classrooms where they have used my fold-over book activity that I use for comprehension or such, but they use this to help students really think through a decision and move step by step by lifting each section of the fold-over book, and then they write or draw their decision plan. I have sometimes seen teachers in older class use this as a response to a story where they read and where the main character has a big decision to make, perhaps something quite life-changing. So this was helpful to think through this life skill process. Again, here's just a quick example from English Vision on making decisions to make a good password, deciding what password to use that fits the rules, and then making choices and thinking of consequences if a bad choice is made. So gather information, make some decisions, take action, but reflect on what happened as a result of your choice in responsible decision making. We've taken a closer look at the 5 parts of social emotional learning and our 4 C's. And let's just take a few minutes maybe for a closer look at the new English Vision program offered by Alpha Publishing, because I've been showing you some pieces from the program. I just want to again let you know that with your interest, that English Vision is a 2020 copyright, and it is the newest program from Alpha Publishing. It really puts the power of a fresh and engaging look in your hands and the hands of your students. I know that the Common European Framework reference for languages is very important in Colombia. So please note that English Vision is aligned with the new CEFR. And English Vision, I just wanted to show you on my slides some new things. If you're not aware, attention to some of the new scales. They have changed some of the descriptors for different levels, and the new pre-A1 milestone, that halfway mark into the first level and such. Many schools are looking at the program because it connects the 4 C's, the 21st century skills, because it connects social emotional learning. And so they find that the program, very easy to work with. A student book, a workbook, a teacher guide, an assessment guide, flashcards, posters, and an audio component as well. And by the way, of course, it's a 21st century program for 21st century skills. Of course, teachers and students have access to digital and print support. Now, just a very quick explanation that each level of the program, has 5 modules. I would call them big ideas or learning themes. Each module, like this one, is called My Daily Life. So other modules at this level include Feeling Well, Moving About, Our Big World, What's It Like? And so the modules have kind of a big idea, a learning theme. And then each module has 3 units, and those units have topics to support the module title. So here, I like school, what time is it, and shall I feed the cat? And then the module ends with 2 CLIL, the content and language integrated learning activities. On this page, you'll see that you're covering the important skills that you want: vocabulary, phonics, reading, grammar, listening, our social emotional learning activities, writing, and speaking. By the way, every level opens with a starter unit. So we want that important entry to the beginning of the year. So every level has a starter unit, and each unit in the student book has their module opener. Again, beautiful. The opener page lists the 3 topics and shows the related CLIL activities as well. There's a beautiful illustration for each, and really supporting key vocabulary. You can return to this image time and again. And please remember that this image that you're seeing here is available as a poster that you can share in your classroom as well. When you move into the unit, you'll see core vocabulary presented and reviewed through photos and text. You'll also see the 2-sided vocabulary card. So it really gives you a nice opportunity to keep that very active on a continuous basis. By the way, that the different levels work with different aspects of learning. So in the early levels, you'll see phonics. At levels 1 and 2, the phonics accompanied by a song or a poem. At levels grades 3 and 4, sounds and spelling and songs. And at the higher grade levels, we grow it up to word study as well. You'll see some nice varieties of reading, lots of attention to fiction, nonfiction, and text structures. I know grammar is very important, so please know that grammar is presented in context to use form and structures. Students listen to short passages and conversations, to listen for gist, to listen for specific information, and the listening activities are also linked to speaking models and activities, and the workbook has even more as well. As I told you, built in are the social emotional activities here. So it's built into the full program. You'll also see writing skill instruction and speaking activities. But in writing, students have the opportunity to do friendly letters, text messages, and more, and speaking, really focusing on that importance of communication. Modules wrap up with opportunities to go back to the module opener, revisit key vocabulary, revisit language structures, and then a reminder to choose or to do both of the wonderful hands-on activities. I love these. I love the one here with this module about time zones. So when I'm here in Oregon, you are 2 hours ahead of me. Other places, I'm 11 hours behind. So knowing this is so important for me. Or the activity of building a sundial. Again, strong support through hands-on activities, strong support from the workbook as well through vocabulary, phonics, reading, grammar, and writing. Very quickly, I know if students have the books in their hand, what do you have? The teacher guide, of course, with step-by-step support, very easy to follow plans, things to make your life a little easier. When you are looking at the plan, I just will highlight a few. You don't have to go far to find some wonderful support or activities for vocabulary, games, other hands-on engaging pieces. Of course, you have the opportunity to work with differentiated learning. How can you support? How can you expand? And critical thinking. I know these are so important to you as teachers there in Colombia. You have such a nice range of support to meet as you turn the pages. Information on fluency, vocabulary, differentiated learning, thinking, and more. Please know that there is also a lovely, very comprehensive range of assessment. So as you're moving into entry, in units, in modules, at the end of levels, and you'll also find several assessments that are done in the style of the Cambridge YLE tests. So please know that those are available as well. And just, again, speaking tests, I love these when you have that one-on-one opportunity to truly assess what teachers are doing. So again, I encourage you to take a closer look at the English Vision program and what it has to offer with you here. I know that some of you have questions. I would like to just share a poem by a first grade teacher very quickly called The Lesson Plan. I think it has such an important message. Different kids, different needs. One knows a letter, one really reads. One from a home where all good things grow, one from a painful place no child should know. Some love a story, some love a rhyme, some need to hurry, some need more time. Some let me see, some try to hide. What do they know? What's hidden inside? And I am the teacher who longs to see all that they are, all they can be. A waiting child, a blank lesson plan, and the keys to their kingdom in my hand. Each of you on the webinar today, you make a difference. You make a true difference every day in so many ways. I honor each of you for what you do wherever you are in your beautiful country. You truly make a difference in the lives of children. You know, I hope that you've enjoyed our time together, and I hope that we have a wonderful year together. Some questions?
Yeah, Sharon.
Yes.
What about self-regulation? I remember that you talk about self-management, so I think it has to do with that.
And helping students to learn again what the boundaries are, expectations of them, but what needs to be accomplished. You know, things that need to be accomplished, how you are moving step by step towards learning goals, but also what boundaries are there, how boundaries are important for them as children, for them as classmates, as learners. They need, so that they know so they know how they can grow appropriately, but with self-regulating, so that they know where they can to support their learning and to support their lives as they are maturing as well. Critical. Yeah.
Yes, the other question's about what specific critical thinking skills or actions would you recommend to develop on young learners?
Well, when you're thinking about, critical thinking, as if you are looking at a problem and some of it, as you're helping to explain the world, what will happen if you do something in the classroom? What will happen? Are you talking, if they're talking more about literacy and language, then you're looking at critical thinking of being able to understand what characters are doing. You understand how a story moves along. You're thinking about what the author is thinking. What differences are the children doing in the classroom? But again, I'd be very happy to maybe put together something that would give you more of some guidelines or some specific types of critical thinking that would be helpful and somewhat be across different age levels. I mean, as we're working with critical thinking with 3 and 4-year-olds, that will be different than 5 and 6-year-olds or 8 or 9-year-olds. So there's going to be a bit of a range for that as well.
Well, and the last question that we have so far, it's about the program itself. They're asking us if the program has videos. So the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there are videos. Yes, there are videos that connect to language, that connect to the lessons and such. There are.
Okay. Oscar, I don't know if you have more questions, or teachers, maybe you want to write them down.
Yeah, we have more questions. Okay, one of them says, can you give us any advice to improve our online lessons?
So how to use the online lessons? That's the question?
Yeah, there's a question. Can you give us any advice to improve our online lessons? I think it's because
because what teachers are going through right now.
Well, I would go back to having some specific routines, even if you are online, that when they come to you, that there are certain routines for opening your time on Zoom with them. So opening, moving through a lesson, and closing. Some of the research or some educators are saying if they need to watch videos, if there's something that is already recorded, something that they need to listen to, something that is recorded, if possible, they need to do that beforehand. That should be done independently. And the best use of your time is to use your online lessons truly online, interacting with the students, so that you are talking to them directly and not having them watch or listen to something while they're also online. So one thing that I'm seeing is, if possible, have them do some of that pre-work, watching things, listening things, so that when you come to open your lesson, you have a routine. You're a welcome. Here are 3 things that you need to have. You might then move through the lesson, work with the discussion, and then provide that very strong closure. Have the students, depending upon grade level, get something back to you, some sort of a summary, so that the conversation, the learning conversation, continues.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Oscar?
There is a question from Larry Gonzalez. I would like her to ask herself. So, Larry, you can now speak, and we're going to listen to you.
Okay, good afternoon for everyone. My question is, what we can do with those students who don't like to speak about their emotion or their problems.
Thank you, Glory.
They are more private, or they are embarrassed, or do they feel ashamed?
I think so. I think that is what she wants to.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, the school needs to be, our classrooms need to be more of a safe place, so that students can feel like, and again, without speaking of everything and sharing a lot of family background or such, sometimes certainly taking those small steps of working with those much more positive emotions first. Again, if they're excited, if they're happy, those are safe ones. Those are ones that students can relate to. It's easier for them. They feel more safe with that space. I think some of it sometimes, as on my presentation, comes down to, as a teacher, where you also are willing to open up and say, sometimes I'm really, afraid of something. Is that something that you might feel? And sometimes they don't feel quite so alone. If other family members or classmates might make fun of them because they're showing that they are vulnerable, then yeah, they don't want to say anything. They want to disappear. They want to be quiet. But sometimes as a teacher, and to just speak to them alone and just say, we all, actually everyone feels, or has these feelings, and I do too. And if you're willing to just take a small step and share a little bit and ask if that's something that, where they are like you as the teacher. As the teacher, sometimes they love you and they really respect you and they want to be like you. And so sometimes if you admit something is frightening or something you are worried about, and you say, sometimes I feel like that. Is that something like you do? And then they might open up and say yes. But again, you just approach it quietly and support them.
I would like to add something, Sharon. It's that our company is willing to offer professional development either on this topic or as well on digital learning that teachers were asking. We had 2 or 3 sessions last semester, but we will return back to PD sessions on digital learning. So you will receive an invitation from Alpha, maybe Libros. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Oscar?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Sorry. Okay. Okay, we have more questions, but as you know, the time is over. So I think we could go to some schools. We can answer some questions there, and we can visit all the people we have here in this meeting. So I would like to thank Sharon. I would like to thank you, Gloria, and I would like to thank everybody who was present in this virtual session. I really appreciate to everyone the questions, the interest that you show. So I don't know what you want to say at the last part, Sharon or Gloria.
Okay, Sharon.
But yes, to everyone who has been on the webinar, I was so pleased to see nearly 200 individuals who chose to take their time this afternoon to join me, to join us. And it lets me know that, again, the passion for teaching just is far and wide there in Colombia. And I'm wishing you a good start to this 2021 school year. And I want all of you to stay well and to stay safe.
Well, thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Oscar. And thank you, everybody. As Oscar was mentioning, we're willing to go to your schools, to visit your schools, or in this time, do it sessions where we can explain and go a little bit further into the program if you're interested in. And keep in touch. You will also receive a link for the video clip that will be edited and sent to you, and any other document that Sharon would like to share with us. So thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.